Alright guys, so here we are on F1 2014. Today we'll be doing a 100% race around Bahrain, driving as Lewis Hamilton starting from the back, and we'll be trying to reignite that rivalry between ourselves and Nico Rosberg. So here we go, 100% race around Bahrain. It should be an absolute cracker. Make sure you subscribe and like the video as well if you haven't already. If we can hit 1k likes on this video, then I'll release another gameplay from F1 2014 straight away. So here we go. In qualifying, we're just setting our setup. I'm just running with a 2013 setup, to be honest. I haven't delved too much into setups yet, but I'll do that at a later date. So yeah, we'll just stick with what we know basically so far. But anyway, first impressions of F1 2014. The handling is actually quite different to F1 2013. There's a lot more wheel spin, and that's replicated through the increased torque that these cars have this year. So it's quite interesting to manage. It's definitely going to make for some interesting strategies in the race. If you can't manage that wheel spin, you're going to have to be doing the extra pit stop or two. So anyway, cutting to the garage now. We're in the pre-race sort of section before we jump in for our race. We've got our strategy of a two-stop, starting on the options, going to primes, and then options again for a final blast towards the finish. So yeah, here we are in Bahrain. We've pretty much got to pass as many cars as we can off the start. I'm not too sure how I'm going to fare in terms of pace. I've only done about 20 minutes worth of practice on this game before jumping into this race. So if you're watching this video months in advance, like in 2015 or whatever, just be aware that this is my first proper race on this game, and I'm not going to be of the highest quality or standard. So I might be a little bit rusty, let's say. So here we go, on to the grid for Bahrain. Our first race on F1 2014, starting in last place. We've got Nico Rosberg starting from pole position, Daniel Ricciardo in second, and ourselves driving as Lewis Hamilton in 22nd place. So here we are, F1 2014. Let's get hyped. Hopefully we can get off to a good start. 5 red lights, and away we go here in Bahrain. Looks like the start, as per usual, is absolutely terrible. Look at those rear tyres igniting with wheel spin. The temperature gauges going off the charts there as we head into turn 1. We can see Chilton harvesting his ERS. We're just going to take it nice and easy into the first corner. Try and get a nice undercut on a few cars here. Gutierrez dropping down to last. Chilton and Kobayashi getting a bit feisty there on the exit of turns 2 and 3. We're up to 18th place so far. Next up is Adrian Sutil. We might try and go up the inside of a few cars into the 4th corner, and Vern there blocking us on the inside. We get up the inside of him into P14 now. Next up is Jenson Button in his McLaren in 13th place. So far the start has been fairly clean up the inside of Button. Next up is Daniel Kvyat. We might try and go up the inside into this corner if we can. He's a bit too far up the road, but fairly good start so far. Got off to a fairly slow start initially, a bit of wheel spin, but overall being able to cut through the field quite nicely, and this Mercedes does feel quite nice to drive. But as I was saying before we got into this race, the handling model on this game is a little bit different to 2013. There's definitely a lack of grip. Like just overall, mechanically, there's a little bit less grip compared to what the previous game offered. So if you're running with no assist, you're going to notice quite a big difference between this game and the previous one. I'm not too sure about assist though. It's going to be quite interesting to see how you guys make of that. So in case you're wondering, I'm driving on the wheel on PC. I'm using a Fanatec CSR, so that's the equipment I'm using. We got the inside of Danny Kvyat in the final corner, but we sort of back out of it there, and we'll try and get past him as soon as we can. Use the DRS on this start-finish straight here. I've also noticed with the gear ratios, you can't use, or you can't adjust any of the gear ratios this year, so that's quite interesting. We got the inside of Maldonado and Daniel Kvyat, and job done into P11. There's a bit of debris from the bollard left on the apex to turn 1 there, but either way, cutting to lap 3 now. We got DRS enabled. I was just harping back to the gear ratios. They're actually quite tall, and you know, for most tracks you're probably not even going to use 8th gear. It's you know, 6th, maybe 7th gear. Sometimes I'm stuck in just 6th gear on the start finish straight if you're on heavy fuel. But now we're going up the inside of Nico Hulkenberg into turn 4, and job done. We're into the points now on lap 3. Next up is Sergio Perez, and yeah, just going back to the gear ratios. because they're so tall, you get quite a lot of drag at top speed, so that's going to sort of enhance or sort of make the slipstream effect even more dramatic, if you want to say. Rosberg goes fastest on a 36.9, so yeah, top speed, you're definitely creating a lot of drag, and the acceleration isn't quite there. So if you're in the slipstream of another car, we got the inside of Perez, you're probably going to really catch up to the back of them and pass them as well. So it's quite interesting. First impressions of the game are fairly good so far. It's surprisingly quite different to 2013, as I was saying before, but either way, we're on lap 4 now, possibly trying to pass Bottas on this lap. We're going to have DRS now, so we're going to see how effective that is in comparison to the Williams, which does have a lot of straight line speed this year, so it's going to be interesting. It looks like he's trying to pass a McLaren. I think it's Magnussen. Yes, it is. We're going 3 wide into turn 1 now. We're up the inside of both of them, and that's another double overtake for us in this race. Having a replay of that overtake there. Job done into the first corner, into P7, and next up is Kimi Räikkönen in his Ferrari. Rosberg is absolutely flying in this race. He's just pulling away by multiple seconds a lap at the moment. He's just pushing so much. We get another double overtake, this time on a Red Bull and Räikkönen. So job done into P5, and from here on in, the race sort of calmed down a little bit. The pace sort of neutralized, and the tyre wear was starting to kick in. And on lap 15, I've decided the wheel spin is becoming a little bit too hard to manage, so I'm coming in for the undercut. The AI is supposed to be coming in on lap 17, so I'll get a fairly decent advantage from this as we come into the pits there. And the game sort of stops us dead as we come into the pits there. And now we'll have a gauge at how fast the pit stops are going to be this year. And it's 3.7 seconds, so fairly slow pit stop in comparison to F1 2013 there. So it's quite interesting to note, but with everything in this gameplay, it's not the full official game yet. It's still a work in progress, so there's some things that might be changed in the build-up to the full game. But rejoining on the track, we jump Magnussen into turn 1. Only just. We got cold tyres though. We'll need to keep him behind us as much as we can, because he hasn't made his stop yet. We're not effectively racing him. But now cutting 2 laps forward to lap 18, we've got Kimi Räikkönen in front of us. He hasn't made his stop yet, so we'll be looking to get in front of him as soon as we can. But in front of him is Vettel and Alonso. So these guys are effectively the podium contenders. I need to get within a shot of trying to pass them, because they'll try and pull away if I can't get in front of Räikkönen. But I think these guys will be pitting at the end of this lap here, doing the overcut compared to their teammates who stopped on the previous lap. And there they go. That releases us to overtake Vettel if we can. I think he's in the slipstream of Massa, I want to say. So either way, cutting to lap 19, we finally caught up to the back of Vettel and Massa. And Vettel brakes quite early there. I had to avoid him quite a bit, but either way, Rosberg once again pushing on his prime tyres, absolutely flying at the moment. 36.2 in comparison to our 36.8, 6/10 slower. We dive up the inside of Vettel into the final corner. Job done into P4. Next up is Massa as we lap. Is that Max Chilton? For the first time in this Grand Prix. Certainly won't be the last either. But we'll be looking to pass Massa as well. Coming into turn 1 if we can. Put the car back down into lean to manage the wheel spin on the exit of turn 1. And job done into the podium positions here on lap 20. Next up is Fernando Alonso, who's a couple seconds up the road. But it's taken a very long time to catch up to him. We're finally starting to find our feet as we have a bit of clean air in this Grand Prix. Lap 24, we finally caught up to the back of Alonso. And I think we'll be trying to pass him on this DRS straight here. We'll see how the comparison is to the Ferrari. And job done into P2. Fairly easy overtake in the end. And the Ferrari is almost no match for a Mercedes in slipstream coupled with the DRS. Now lap 34, we can see Sebastian Vettel trying to pass us up the inside into turn 1. Our tyre wear is now starting to kick in. Also, we're having to manage fuel. I believe we're -2 laps down on fuel at the moment. I don't remember setting my strategy either, so it looks like I'm probably on the aggressive fuel strategy. And Vettel, again, through the middle sector, has a nice run on me on this mini DRS straight. He might go up the inside into this corner here. We're going to try and hold it on the racing line, but Vettel backs out of it. Doesn't quite have the confidence to go up the inside into that corner, so we maintain second place at the moment, but we'll be coming in for our final stop very soon. Vettel now pulls into the pits for his final stop, so I'm going to be coming in on the very next lap to respond and make sure that Vettel doesn't rejoin in front of us. Just pretty much reacting as soon as we can, and hopefully this time Mercedes can deliver a slightly better pit stop than the previous one. Let's see how it is. 3.7 seconds, so it looks like 3.7 is the standard this year for pit stops. Quite weird when you consider that in real life you see most teams doing sub 3-second stops most of the time, at least for the top teams. But either way, rejoining on the track, it looks like we might actually jump Vettel here. Massa is in third, so I think Vettel has been held by a few lap cars on his out lap, so that's released us into second. But in terms of the battle for the lead, though, I think that's a little bit too hard to get now, as Rosberg has a massive lead. Lap 53, we have a safety car, so someone over the course of the track somewhere has retired from the race, and we might potentially be back in this for a chance of getting a win in this Grand Prix. You can see we're in cockpit cam now because I wanted to have a closer look at the display on the LED wheel there. It's quite nice to see the slight differences when you're under safety car, but we're actually coming in for a pit stop here. We're going to put on the option tyres and have a blast at trying to get Nico Rosberg in this race. For the majority of the race, he's had quite a decent pace advantage over me, so I think my only chance of winning at this stage is by putting on a fresh set of tyres. We're only going to lose a couple of positions here, so I think it's quite worth a risk here. So cutting to lap 55, we finally caught up to the back of the queue here, and I believe we're the last in the queue here, so that means there's actually quite a few cars who are a lap down, and we're going to have to overtake a lot of lap cars that are in the way to get to Rosberg. So it's going to be quite interesting. I think the time difference between myself and Rosberg is going to be quite dramatic in terms of lap times, because Rosberg has had his tyres on for about 20 or 30 laps. I want to say at least 20 laps. So that could make a massive difference in terms of lap time. We might be able to catch him if the lap traffic doesn't get in the way too much. We need to carve through the field as quickly as we can. It's just going to be a 2-lap sprint to the end. This is going to be absolutely awesome. So in terms of fuel though, we're +1, so we can pretty much attack from the outset. But I think we might only have 1 lap in rich, so we'll need to manage our fuel mapping just a little bit. So here we go, getting ready for the restart. Looks like Rosberg has been backing up the queue quite a bit and cooling out the tyres and the temperatures. So it's going to be interesting to see how that sort of affects the behaviour of the car as we see Caterham getting out of the way. That's Marcus Ericsson. There's actually quite a big gap to the cars in front. I believe Massa in the Williams is right in front of us as well. So this is 4th position. In front of him is Fernando Alonso in 2nd place. So if we can get in front of these 2 cars right in front of us, then I think we could have a clear shot at Nico Rosberg for the win of this Grand Prix. So here we are, lap 56. We've only got a lap and a bit to go. We've got Felipe Massa getting slowed up by Gutierrez there, so that's going to make us have a nice run in him coming into this middle sector here, going side by side into this fast right-left chicane. We get the move done and into the podium positions once again. Next up is Fernando Alonso, just a few seconds up the road. Hopefully we have the car pace to be able to catch him and pass him on this final lap now, going purple on the final lap, 34.6. And that puts Fernando Alonso under even more pressure as we head on to the final lap now. I don't think Rosberg is too worried about us at the moment. He's at the head of the queue, and I think he's got about a 6 or 7 second lead already. So it looks like we'll be focusing on 2nd place. I'm not too disappointed with that. I don't think we're really in with a chance of winning this race, to be honest, because the gap to Rosberg has always been quite substantial. So either way, final lap coming into the middle sector now. We can see Fernando Alonso 1.1 seconds in front of us, going 9/10 purple to the previous lap. So we're absolutely flying at the moment. It's just a shame that the race is going to end on the 57th lap. If we had maybe 5-6 laps extra, maybe we would have had a chance at getting Rosberg. But either way, we're right onto the back of Fernando now. We can have DRS on this straight, I believe. He moves to the inside to go defensive, trying to break the slipstream, and we're just trying to stay with him as much as we can. Try and maybe go up the inside. No, he blocks to the inside, so we're going to go around the outside, and looks like we might get the job done on the racing line. With fresher tyres, we passed Fernando Alonso with 2 corners to go in this race into 2nd place, going 8/10 purple over our previous best. And Rosberg, he's won this race already, 11 seconds up the road. He's going to win this race in style, and deservedly so as well. He's been very quick this race, very consistent as well. But us though, we're coming out of the final corner in our first race on F1 2014. I was worried about my pace and consistency, but either way, we've come across the line in a very decent 2nd place.
just fantastic. 18 points.
So that's been my first race on F1 2014, coming home in second place, just 11 seconds shy of Nico Rosberg in the end. Fernando Alonso finishes in third, Felipe Massa fourth, with Daniel Ricciardo in fifth as well. So if this video hits 1k likes, then I'll release another F1 2014 video straight away. So also let me know in the comments what kind of videos you'd like to see me make in the coming weeks. I'm kind of limited to Grand Prix mode, time trial, and scenario mode. Unfortunately, I won't be able to try out career mode until the game is officially released in just a few weeks' time. But that's been this video for today. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. Also, remember to leave some suggestions as to what videos I should make in the future. But yeah, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to see more F1 2014 videos in the future. I'll be doing career mode, setups, all kinds of different things, so subscribe to see those things. But that's been this video for today. Until my next one, I'll see you guys next time.